now. 3, 2, 1, go.
My name is Salia Brink. I'm the DA leader of the Tshwane Metro. We are entering day number 6 of a major electricity blackout in the nation's capital. As I speak to you on Saturday morning, the following areas are still largely without any electricity. Day number 6. Sunnyside, Queenswood, Brooklyn, Colburn, Wonderboom South, Arcadia, Menlo Park, Riviera, Mayville, Waverley, Groenkloof, Rietfontein, Kazina, Bergtuin, Swansea Park, and Sunset View. And that doesn't include all of the other single outages across the city that cannot be attended to because of this major strain on the electricity teams of the city. The cause of these outages is, of course, a major hailstorm that happened on Sunday. But this weather event was not unusual. It's not the biggest the city has seen, not even one of the biggest. We've had many of these. We know that the city's electricity infrastructure is fragile, that there isn't enough electricity teams, that there isn't enough resources, that the city struggles with issues such as stocks not being available at critical times. But what is unusual in these circumstances is a complete lack of a crisis management response. And believe me, this is a crisis. In these areas that I've mentioned, we have businesses that cannot take orders and complete projects, that have to pay salaries. We've had households, especially in some of the rural areas with the single outages, that depend for their water and to feed livestock on the availability of electricity. We have elderly folk on oxygen machines who simply cannot do what needs to be done in order to attend to their own health and well-being. We have job cards where outages, whether area outages or single outages, have been reported that are closed without the actual work being done, which creates an even further crisis because residents then think that the municipality doesn't know what it ought to do in order to restore their power. Now, a crisis response is necessary because there are norms and standards when it comes to electricity, just like there are norms and standards to paying your municipal bill. The municipality expects you to pay your bill within 30 days, and if you don't, there are consequences. However, now it is clear, especially because of this lack of communication, including lack of communication by officials to councillors, that the norms and standards that apply to the municipality to restore your power when it goes off simply isn't important enough for the current leadership of the city. What could a disaster or a crisis response look like? Redirect personnel and vehicles from regions that don't have electricity outages in order to help the current teams in Pretoria Central, Pretoria East, and Pretoria West to attend to those outages. Make sure that we have the stocks in the stores so that the job can be done the first time, so that cars don't have to drive up and down to the depots in order to get those stocks. Make sure we communicate also with councillors, because in times of crisis, communication is central. And I want to tell you that the communicator in chief of any municipality is the mayor. You know what a city cares about if you see what the mayor communicates. Now look at Nasipi Moya's X feed as an example. She's very active on social media. She is very adamant to enforce bylaws in Pretoria West or to cut electricity, but in the midst of a power outage that affects that community as well, she is nowhere to be seen. She is not communicating directly. She is not conveying to the city's management and the teams that this is an important issue that has to be attended. As for her MMC for electricity, Frans Boichello, well, since his appointment, we really haven't seen him doing anything. He doesn't do media interviews. Maybe he doesn't even come to the office. Who knows? But the point is, there's a clear lack of leadership in these circumstances. There's even an unusual situation in Centurion where a butchery has been fined by the city because their cooling facilities aren't working, and yet that butchery has been without power for 5 days. Could the teams sent there to issue the fine perhaps have assisted in making sure that the power is actually restored? So, in these circumstances, just like the municipality insists that you pay your municipal bill or there will be consequences, the DA will also act to make sure that the municipality does its part. As we speak, the city is in breach of its NERSA license conditions as a distributor of electricity. Again, we wouldn't have emphasized this fact had there been a sign that the city is actually dealing with these outages, that it is communicating clearly. But in the absence of that indication, we get a clear sign that the city doesn't regard this as a priority. And so the DA will be collecting information from residents to make the case that the city is in breach of its NERSA license conditions, and to then make sure that there are consequences for that. But the mayor and the city management can still act. They can still show that it's not all about doing the best for the G20 while they're in town, and when they leave, we go back to the backsliding and the negligence of before. The city should be governed for its own residents, for their benefit, the businesses, the jobs, the health, the well-being of its residents. That should be priority number one. Our councillors will continue to support communities, to share the information that we have, and at my level, we will escalate the pressure on the city. This is a crisis situation, and it is time that South Africa's capital city treats it as such.